All set to begin? All right, good morning, everyone. I'm going to call to order the Town of Ocean Ridge Special Magistrate hearing. It's July 7th. Verizon says it's 10 o'clock, so we can get started. My name is Amity Barnard. I'm the Special Magistrate for this morning's hearing. The first thing I'm going to do is swear anybody in who's here to testify on any items on today's agenda, including all town staff. So if you're here for a code enforcement matter that's on today's agenda, if you could stand if you're able and raise your right hands. I'll swear you all in at the same time. Do you all swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. And Madam Clerk, there's not typically anybody on the computer, is that correct? Okay, great. All right, you may be seated. A little bit about process. I think all of the cases on today's agenda are violation hearings. So when you hear your case called, town staff will typically be at the podium or the seat over here to my left. You'll come to the podium that's directly in front of me. The town will go first. They will present their case. They will call any witnesses that they intend to call. They will show me the documents that they intend to enter into the record. Those are on both sides of me behind me. Once the town has concluded its presentation, you'll have an opportunity to present anything you've brought with you today in terms of documents. Tell me anything verbally that you'd like me to hear as it relates to your case. Cross-examine any witnesses that the town has put on. Once I've heard from both sides, I'll make a final ruling and you'll get a copy of an order that reflects that ruling after the hearing. So keep in mind that all of your testimony today is given under oath. With that, let the record reflect that I did review the minutes of May 5th. Just one minor scrivener's error, Madam Clerk, on the top of page 2 has a January date. You may want to make that, I think it's a May hearing, but substantively they're fine, so I'll approve those as drafted with that minor scrivener's error correction. And with that, I'll turn it to the town to call its first case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Christy Gott on behalf of the town of Ocean Ridge. Your Honor, we'll start with item number 2 on the agenda. This is case number PD 2026-014. The respondent is C&T Auto Holdings LLC. This is a parking violation citation that was issued. Good morning. We have our
Good
officer
morning.
here to testify.
My name is Officer Sasso with Ocean Ridge Police Department. All of those happen in Ocean Ridge jurisdiction, Palm Beach County. All the following violations that's on here. This vehicle on March 13th at 9 o'clock was parked on Old Ocean, where no vehicles allowed to be parked. Here's a perfect picture. We cannot park any vehicles whatsoever on Old Ocean without a pass. So he was cited for parking without the decal permission and where it's not authorized.
Okay. And what does the town have in the way of service? Was this signed for or did you send?
This was sent. And received.
Yeah, I believe the original citation wasn't signed, but
No,
the notice of hearing, which was changed, was properly served by certified mail.
And Officer Sasov, what's your first name?
Alex.
Alex.
First name Alexei, ALEXEY.
Thank you. All right, is the respondent present for this case? Seeing none, the town is asking for what in terms of remedy today?
Your Honor, the citation fee is $40 since it wasn't timely paid, and the town is seeking its prosecution costs of $224.44.
All right, anything further in this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, in case 2026-014, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll note for the record that the respondent is not present. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include a signed certified mail, that the respondent had proper notice for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the testimony of the officer and town staff that the respondent was in violation of section 54-2, was cited for parking in violation of the town's code and has not paid the citation amount. issued on the citation, so I will affirm the violation, affirm the $40 citation costs, and assess the administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $224.44 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, the next
Thank
case is case item number 3 on today's agenda. It's case number PD 2026-016. The respondent is the Hertz Corporation. This is a parking citation case as well. Good morning.
I'm Officer Lucio, the Ocean Ridge Police Department. And on the 28th of March, there was a white Buick parked in a parking lot where it's clearly marked and posted for parking for town business and no beach parking. The vehicle was parked in that spot and was issued a ticket for 54-2. No parking is posted. Citation was left on the windshield.
All right, and officer, what's your last name again?
Galusio,
Spell it for me.
Galluscio,
And your first name?
Mario.
Thank you. All right, and this one, did the town send notice of hearing on this one as well?
We did send a notice of hearing, was sent out certified and was received.
Okay. All right, so you have a stamp certified mail. Is the respondent present for this case? Seeing none, I'll note for the record in case PD 2026-016, the respondent is not present. What's the town seeking in terms of remedy today?
Your Honor, we're seeking the citation fee of $40 and prosecution costs of $22, $224.44.
All right, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, in case PD 2026-016, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I've noted for the record that the respondent is not present at this morning's hearing. However, the town does have legally sufficient service via the certified mail that was stamped as received on May 27, 2026. I'll find based on the testimony of the officer as well as the documents in the case file that the respondent's in violation of 54-2 for the parking in violation of the town's code. Since the parking citation amount remains unpaid, I'll assess that amount of $40, and I'll also assess the administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $224.44 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the next case on the agenda is case number PD 2026-017. This is item number 4 on the agenda. This is also a parking citation. We have our officer here to testify.
10404 2026 at the inlet, Boynton Beach, Ocean Ridge Inlet. There's a vehicle that was parking without a decal pass in no authorized areas. You can see right in front of the gate. Not supposed to be parked there. It's not designated parking spot, which is against city ordinance. Issue a parking ticket, took a picture of that.
All right, what does the town have in the way of service?
We sent a notice of hearing and sent out certified and received.
All right, so you got a signed certified mail. Is the respondent present in this case? All right, what is the town seeking?
Your Honor, the town seeking $40 for the citation fee and $224.44 in prosecution costs.
All right, anything further in this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, in case PD 2026-017, for the record, the respondent is not present. I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include a signed certified mail, that the town had good service for the hearing this morning. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file, as well as the testimony of the officer, that the respondent was in violation of section 54-2 for the parking in violation of the town's code. Because the citation amount remains unpaid, I'll assess that citation amount in the amount of $40 plus the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $224.44 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the next case is item number 5 on today's agenda, case number PD 2026-018. Van Pelt Investments LLC is the respondent. This is a parking citation. We have our officer present to testify.
April 5th, observed truck parked grass was not authorized. And it's park, it should park.
Everybody thinks that's a parking space, though. All right, and the citation doesn't look like it was signed, so service via,
Sent a notified, notice of hearing, sorry. Sent it out certified and it was received.
actually signed and dated. All right, is the respondent present in this case? At 1,000 so far. All right, I presume you're asking for your citation amount plus administrative costs.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And the citation was 40 in this one as well, right?
Yes.
All right, in case PD 2026-018, for the record, the respondent is not present. I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include a signed certified mail, that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the photographs in the case file and the testimony of the officer that the respondent was in violation of section 54-2 for the parking in violation of the town's code. Because the citation amount has not been paid, I will assess that $40 citation amount again, and also the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $224.44 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the next item on today's agenda is case number PD 2026-019. This is item number 6 on the agenda. The respondent is Maria Alexandra Chavez, and this is a citation for a dog on the beach. First offense.
411 at 65 Flint Park, I mean, not the park, yep, Hammond Park. Ocean Ridge, Hammond Park on the beach side. Can I submit a picture? Dog?
Sure. I see it. Have you seen it?
Sure.
Dog. License. 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 And it's okay.
And what was the last thing you said?
Couldn't obey service animals, couldn't obey
Oh, okay.
simple orders. Was clear that it was not service animal. It's clear that the dog was supposed to be on the beach. That's why the personalization got beach. Take it. Good place.
I was gonna say my dog can't possibly be a service animal then either, because she doesn't obey either. All right, so the dog is the brown dog that's sitting there.
ID on license. Take it, citation.
Okay, great. And the violation. All right, you had today's hearing date on the citation. Is a respondent present for this case? And the citation has not been paid? Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, the same thing in this case in terms of remedy?
Yes, Your Honor, in this case, the citation cost is $100 for the first offense, and the court costs are $224.44.
All right, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, in case PD 2026-019, again, for the record, the respondent is not present. I'll enter the town's evidentiary case file as composite exhibit 1 without objection, which will also include the photograph taken by the issuing officer on April 11, 2026. I presume the town will insert that into its electronic case file. Based on the notice documents in the case file, which include citation that was signed for by the violator, which included the date and time of this morning's hearing, I'll find that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. Based on the testimony of the officer as well as town staff, I'll find that and the documents in the case file, I'll find that the respondent's in violation of section 62-28, that this is the first offense for having a dog on the beach in violation of the town's code. I'll assess the $100 citation amount that was issued in the citation but remains unpaid, and I'll also assess the administrative cost for today's hearing in the amount of $224.44 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the next case is case number PD 2026-020. This is item number 7 on the agenda. This is also a parking citation. We have our officer present to testify.
On April 23rd, observed 2 cars parked, no parking, there's a no parking anytime sign. Some grass, parked there, it's up the road. Issued those cars 2 parking tickets.
So is this case for one of those
One.
cars?
Yes,
Okay, which one?
should go back, something figure.
Oh, the black one, I guess. All right, it doesn't look like the citation was signed for, so the town did secondary service. Is that accurate?
Yes, we sent a notice of hearing, certified receipt, and came back with a card, but no signature.
Okay, is the respondent present for this case? All right, this one, the citation amount is $40, is that right?
Correct, Your Honor.
And the admin is $220. Anything further from the town in this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, in case PD 2026-020, again, for the record, the respondent is not present. I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection based on the notice documents in the case file, which include a notice of hearing and a certified mail that was returned as having been delivered. I find that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. Based on the photographs in the case file, as well as the officer's testimony, I'll find that the respondent was in violation of section 54-2 for the parking in violation of the town's ordinance and posted signage. I'll assess the $40 citation fee, which has not been paid as of today, as well as the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $222.44 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so item number 8 on today's agenda is case number CS 2026-0043. This involves Kathleen Miller as the trustee title holder. This property is at 6133 North Ocean Boulevard in the town of Ocean Ridge. We have Steve Sheehan, our code community standards officer, here to testify, along with the town clerk, who will testify as to service.
Whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. I will. Steve Shan, Ocean Ridge Compliance Specialist. On April 3rd, I was summoned to go to 6133 Ocean about work being done without work being done with, and then as we looked into it, we found out that there was no permit or anything on file of what was going on. Proceeded to the property and we found quite a bit of workers working on the beach. When I arrived on the property, there was a landing, a stair landing, an aluminum structure already attached to the seawall. And at the same time, there was workers digging into the beach, into the actual beach, trying to, there's the landing right there that was installed into the seawall cap. Very structural. You can see the water. And then just below that, workers were digging into the beach to install the post into the sand. Which not only do you need to go through the town of Ocean Ridge, you also have to go through the state to the DEP to get that permission, to get that permit to do any kind of work on the beach.
And what kind of property is this? Is this residential?
Yes, it's
Okay.
residential on the beach. So we gave them, after talking to the property manager, I believe his first name is John, I don't know his last name, but talking to John, we gave them 2 weeks to get the company, the contractors registered, which would have been 4/17 registered, as well as apply for a permit. Because we knew that it was going to take some time to get the state of Florida to approve everything and us to approve everything. 2 weeks was not enough time to get an issue permit. So the 2 week deadline was to apply for the permit and get the contractors registered.
Okay. And what's the status now?
The status is by 4/17. Before 4/17, the contractors did get registered. And on 4/17 as well, they did apply for the permit. They sent the paperwork in. It wasn't, but they did do good faith and at least apply for the permit.
And the code sections you have listed are what?
60, excuse me. 67-17A and 67-51A.
6751 is your permit requirement. What's 67?
It's the coastal construction requirement, that if you're doing any coastal construction, you have to have the state permit. Has the contractor been responsive to completing the permit?
Yes, well, the property manager, his name is John, excuse me for not knowing his last name, but he has been reaching out to the town. On June 16th, he emailed the town, reaching out to the town, showing good faith that he is trying to work with not only the town, but the state and trying to remedy the situation and to get all the applications done. On July 1st, which was last week, we received an email from the same individual, John, the property manager, that the landing that you saw in the previous picture, the aluminum structure has been removed, and the holes that were created from the installing it have been filled with concrete filler. I have not seen it in person to inspect it in person. It was just an email with some pictures that they have removed it and filled it in with concrete filler.
All right, is the respondent present for this case? Okay, great. So as you're approaching, what is the town seeking in terms of remedy today?
To get the permits exactly from the DEP and with us, and it's got to go through all the proper planning and zoning, because of where the stair is, to make sure that it's done right. And then the financial aspects, I'm not sure on the financial aspects.
Well, are they in compliance if they've removed all the work that they've done?
Yes,
Okay. But if they're going to go forward with the work, then obviously they need to apply for the permit.
yes.
But they're in compliance as of now. I'm assuming we're seeking they were in violation and they're in compliance as of today. So that if they start this work up again without a permit, there'd be a repeat violation.
Yes, and I haven't seen it in person, inspected in person. I just received the picture in the email. But they definitely need the proper paperwork for the DEP in the state of Florida. But yes, they have complied according to that email and that picture.
Do
But
we
do you-
need,
I'm sorry.
sorry, do we need any kind of documentation to show that by removing that, everything's in compliance?
We would need something from the building official to get someone over there to look at it, to make sure that there wasn't any damage or that it's done correctly, that the holes were filled correctly and everything since it's a seawall, that it's still substantially, it's okay. It's in sound working order. That's the only thing I would suggest. The building official should inspect it.
He has, if I can, he has been known to maybe not make that call and ask for an engineer's letter to see if it's structurally sound. I don't know if he'll do that. But he has been known to do that when it comes to seawalls. I would just say as far as that would be one thing, but I would also think that if they plan on doing anything, that we want basically compliance of an issued permit. But technically, as of right now, they're in compliance because there's nothing there, That's just.
I would recommend an engineer, structural engineer, to approve it.
All right, let me hear from the respondent and then we could perhaps have more discussion. What's your name, sir?
Sure. My name is John, John, and my last name is Chikai, it's spelled Gjkaj. And I'm the property manager there, at this location.
Okay. So let's start with the easy part. You've heard what the town has said. You've seen the documents that have been scrolling on the screen behind me. Do you have any objection to the paperwork that they are intending to enter into the record being entered into the record?
No, I do not.
Okay. So go ahead and explain what's going on.
Sure, absolutely. I've been communicating, to the best of my abilities with the code enforcement office here. And I've also been communicating with our contractor, trying to remedy the situation. It was taking longer than we wish it would be, but as I'm hearing from you all today, it does seem like we are doing our best to comply with everything that we need to do. And we also would like to say that moving forward, we fully plan on getting every one of the permits necessary, both from the DEP and both from this organization as well, the town as well. We are at the mercy of our contractor. They are working at a snail's pace, but I am pushing them as best I can. I've been communicating with the code enforcement here to the best of my abilities. We just ask that we will work with you and we will kindly get every sort of permit we can and make sure, I know that right now our contractor is working with their engineers to come up with the proper engineering plans that we can present to you. And the state of Florida as well, to make sure before we do any sort of construction on this proposed project. I believe that's all that I have. But I'm willing to answer.
So
any questions.
what is it? It was going to be a staircase down to the water. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. And you intend to move forward with that?
Yes.
Okay.
With new engineering plans that adhere to both the town and the state's on requirements.
Okay. Okay. All right, so hearing that, what is the town?
Your Honor, hearing that, I think the town's recommendation is to find that there was a violation. The notice of violation, notice of hearing gave them until June 25th, 2026 to come into compliance. July 1st is when the town received the email showing that all work had been removed. So we would like to have a finding of violation, but that they're in compliance, so there'd be no fine assessed, but the town would be entitled to its prosecution costs of $224.44. I'm sorry, $224.73.
Changing it up on you.
Yes, exactly. Kelly's keeping me on my toes.
All right, so what she's asking me for is what we typically call a finding of fact. It means that you were in violation, you came into compliance by the time that the code officer prescribed in the notice. They're being generous with you because they haven't gone out there actually and done their own inspection. They're relying on the photographs that they got from you in your testimony this morning, which is nice. I would caution you though, based on the evidence that I see here, there's clearly somebody did work without a permit. That's pretty clear. So I'm going to find you in violation, but by finding you in violation today, even though you complied, if you do it again, so if your contractors go back out there next week and start the process up, the town could immediately cite you on repeat violation. They don't have to give you time to cure the violation, and they'll come to me and they'll ask me to give you a fine starting the day that they first see you doing work again. So make sure that you get your permits in hand before you do anything further. And I would recommend starting on that DEP process because I think you're going to have a little trouble with turtle season if you're attempting to impact the beach at this time of year, but that's for you all to navigate. Anything else you'd like me to hear, sir? Okay, anything further from the town?
No, Your Honor.
And then I guess, does the coastal construction code section stay? If they don't, is that actually a finding of fact? If they didn't get DEP permits, does that just drop off and it's just the town's code?
Just the town's code.
Alright. And you have service via posting, Mr. Sheehan, right, Shahan? And was the mail received or no?
Yes, it was. I didn't have the green card, but I did go on and it showed
You
delivery.
have a delivery confirmation? Okay. All right, with that, in case CS 2026-0043, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include both an affidavit of posting as well as USPS delivery confirmation on the certified mail, that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the testimony of the code enforcement officer as well as the photographs in the case file that the respondent was in violation of section 67-51A for the work done without the required town permits, has since come into compliance, but did not come into compliance by the time specified in the town's notice of violation. So I'll sign an order that reflects what we call a finding of fact. Because I have found the respondent in violation, I will assess the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $224.73 payable within 30 days. So you'll get a copy of that order. Just keep in mind that repeat violation is a real thing for the next 5 years on work without a permit. So encourage your client not to do work without getting town permits, or they're going to be on the hook for repeat violations in the future. So best of luck with the permitting. Thanks for coming this morning. All right, next case.
Your Honor, our next case is item number 9 on today's agenda. This is case number CS 2026-0083. We have our compliance officer, Steve Sheehan, here to testify, and Kelly Avery as to proper service. This is at 118 Marlin Drive in the town of Ocean Ridge.
Hi, good morning. Steve Shane, compliance specialist for Ocean Ridge. We were summoned, I was summoned for 118 Marlin Drive for a couple reasons. Number one was the 67-12 construction abandonment and 67 Town Code 67-31 violation of FBC Florida Building Code. And then are we doing only 83? Okay, that was on 83. So just those two, construction abandonment and violation of FBC.
What's the violation of the Florida Building Code?
What's that?
What's 6731? What violation of the building code?
They were working under expired permits.
Is that it, Mr. Sheehan?
Yes.
Right, Miss Avery?
Yes, so when he had gone out there, the building official also went out, I think he's that same day or the day after, to meet with the contractor to see where they stood as far as getting the job done. He looked at everything and gave us completion dates that he would like to see the work done by. If they were,
Who's he, just so I understand?
the building official, sorry, Mike Crisaful.
Thank you.
He gave us the estimates on how long he felt it should be. And that was for all when he went out there for the master permit and those subs, we went ahead and checked on all of them. And he gave us the information on all the permits that were going on and how long he felt that they should take, and gave us those requirements. So when we issued the notice of violation, we did, as you see here, broke down every permit and said that if they got their renewal within the 10 days that we allotted, for them to come in compliance for that, we gave them completion dates that they had to get everything done by, based on the building official's recommendation. And then we did we did go out there, posted it, the notice, and we sent it certified mail. That one did not get a card back or say it was delivered. But in the next case, they were delivered at the same time the other one is received. But that's all I have. I can give you the status of where they're at on each one of them if you'd like.
Um, what's compliance though? Compliance is reinstituting the permits, right?
Correct.
So have they applied for renewal or well, how does that process work in this town? Is it
Most
just a
of the-
renewal?
Yeah, it's just a renewal. It's a one-page application.
Okay.
They apply for the renewal for each one of the permits that has expired. All of them have been renewed except for one they just submitted yesterday. But if you look at the listing, the one that was done yesterday, it's 30, this one right here, the pool spa.
Yeah.
They were to have the job finished by June 28th. And so right now that one's just being held.
So you're not issuing the renewal?
We were kind of waiting to hear what was going on here because per the building official, he wanted the job completed by June 28th. And it is now July 7th. We just received the renewal request yesterday. I was kind of waiting to hear. We'll process it if need be. But we're waiting just to hear what was going on here.
Okay. All right, does the town have any other witnesses?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
All right, your name, sir?
Ara Garibian. I'm the property owner and contractor of record.
Okay, great. So what happened? A bunch of permits expired and work continued?
Yeah, so a number of things happened, but we just kind of fell into this design delay. I saw you guys late last year. And then we engaged a reputable architect to give us the details and specifications we needed to complete the construction. And it was just like this delay of November to, I think, April, May, when we finally restarted. And you know, kind of intentionally, I knew we were going into the holidays. I cleaned the place up, rocked, fenced, made it spotless, and let everybody and all the neighbors have a peaceful Thanksgiving, Christmas, while we were going through architects. And that was such a long, lengthy process. You know, letting them get up to speed. And then, so we recently restarted, probably just the week that Steve came out and found us working. And then, you know, he uncovered the fact that all of our permits were, you know, expired. They were just, they just had expired. And we quickly resolved all of them except for the pool. The pool contractor was like, I'm not signing the revision until you give me every specification, you know, the color and the tile and the, you know, so he didn't want to sign. He was reluctant. He says, give me everything that you need, you know, give me everything that we need to build it. And then, so, you know, the architect supplied the color and the pool finish and the diamond bright and the tile. And then, so he just recently sent in his renewal, and then we sent it to the city to get that last permit renewed. So at this point, with the exception of that pool that's in the office, they're all renewed. And we have you know, specifications to move forward, and we are moving forward with inspections. And in addition to hiring this design firm, we hired them for construction management. So even though I'm the contractor, they're actually contracting the project, managing, and they're doing, you know, what the house, you know, they're doing what the house needs, construction management, and they have all the design specs. And, you know, that's where we are. And that's just the delays, is we just fell into this black hole of, you know, designer doing the design. And we're pretty close. I'm not gonna lie under oath. And I appreciate that the 2026, we're targeting end of the year, which that might work. That looks like Thanksgiving on all those big ticket items, the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, that falls in line with our schedule. We're going to make that work. We got to move in by, you know, this year. So we're on track. Again, we have all the details They have all the details in their building. And we're making it happen. So we got and we're running a pretty clean operation, and we're staying quiet and respectful to the neighbors.
Okay,
That's where we are there.
all right. All right, so it looks like in looking down, there's another case. We're gonna keep that separate. So this is just about renewal of the permits, right?
Correct.
So
Correct, Your Honor.
if he's got one in, there's only one pending. How much time does it take to turn around a renewal permit? Is it a matter of 7 days or 5 days
It
or
could be same day.
same day? Okay. And he's paid whatever fees are required for renewal.
Honestly, did not look at the fees. I don't know if she's gotten to, we just got it in yesterday, so I don't know if she's gotten to the point of invoicing him yet for it.
Okay,
But I can check on that.
but the other ones that you already renewed were paid, so it's just really the one.
Correct.
Okay. So what is the town seeking then? Given that?
Your Honor, given that, we'd like to have a finding of violation for 67-12 and 67-31, since the remaining permit has not been, as of right now, renewed. And then a compliance date, obviously 10 days, since it should be relatively quick to turn that renewal around. And then the town's court costs, which I believe are $224.70.
Excuse me, looking at the phone, I'm just looking for the date of today, so make sure it's not a weekend. All right, so that should be plenty of time. If you have the application in, it's just a matter of them processing it and you paying whatever fee. So you're in agreement with that 10 days? You
That's
don't see any
fair.
Reason that's. gonna-
I'm sorry, Your Honor, it's the prosecution costs are $260.73.
Got it, thank you. And then in the event of non-compliance, which I don't expect, what fine amount with the town?
$250 a day, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, so you've seen the documents scrolling up on the screen behind me, sir. Do you have any objection to those documents being entered?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else you'd like me to hear, sir? In this case?
At this moment. I think one of those permits was closed out by now, but it's, not important.
Actually, can I comment on that one? You're talking about the seawall one?
24243.
It was not closed out. It's only had the engineering final. It still needs the building final.
I'll let the contractor know. I'll let the seawall guy know.
All right, anything further from the town in this case?
No, Your Honor.
All right, in case CS 2026-0083, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting, that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the testimony of town staff as well as the respondent and the documents in the case file that the respondent's in violation of section 67-12 and 67-31 for the expired permits, all of which have been appropriately renewed with the exception of one permit for the pool, and that's 25-030, Madam Clerk, is that right?
Correct.
I'll require respondent to comply by having that permit renewed on or before July 17th of 2026. In the event of non-compliance, a $250 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violation continues after that date. Because I have found you in violation, I have to assess the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $260.73 payable within 30 days. So 10 days should be more than enough time, but just make sure you keep in touch with the town if there's any issues on the 10 days, okay?
Okay, will I see, how do I pay that 260? Will I see something in the mail, or I just pay it at the?
I
You'll
will
get a
send you
copy of the
something,
order.
but you can pay it up in the front too.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, that's it for that one. Next one.
Your Honor, the next case on the agenda is case number CS 2026-0084. This is the same property owner at 118 Marlin in the town of Ocean Ridge. The nature of violation in this case is the duration of construction. We have our code compliance officer, Steve Sheehan, and Kelly Avery, town clerk, to testify in this matter.
Good morning again. Steve Cheyenne, Ocean Ridge Compliance Specialist. On the exact same day at the exact same address of 118 Marlin Drive, we issued a notice of violation for Town Code 67-52, which is duration of construction. Failed to have anything done within that time frame of the permit, which was issued. Permits.
Permits are normally for construction the 2 years. At that time it was 2 years. If you feel that you are gonna go over that or not meet it, you can ask for an extension. There was nothing requested and is gone past the duration of the 2 years, which is why this was issued.
And the extension is from who? The commission?
It is requested from the town manager.
From the town manager. So what is the town seeking in this case?
Your Honor, as stated on the notice of violation, there's a set 2-year duration of construction within the town of Ocean Ridge. And so once you violate that, you're in violation. In the past, the way we've treated is we've allowed them to renew their permits, but they remain in violation until they can bring the property into compliance, which is either return it to its previous state or complete the project. So we treat this as a irreversible, irreparable type of violation. So what we would do in this case is seek a fine of $150 per day until they bring the property into compliance, which sounds like to complete the project. We could seek a fine of up to $5,000 per day, but realistically, I don't think anybody wants to do that and be penal in nature. But I think that for given that this will probably go on through the rest of this year, that $150 fine per day as it continues as fair as reasonable.
And how does the fine relate if he were to apply for an extension as allowed?
The way that we interpret the code provision, and as you may recall, when they were here before, they were advised to seek, an extension prior to the permits expiring. Once the permits expire, you now have to renew, and there's no request for an extension once your permits have expired. I'm sorry, the time for duration of construction has expired.
Okay, so if you let it expire, you have to make the request before the expiration of the 2-year period. Is what you're
Correct.
saying.
Yes.
And sir, you didn't make a request for an extension?
No, we missed that turn. I recall that was available to us, and because we weren't working on the project or calling inspections, we had just missed that milestone. I had missed it. I had missed that extension date. If I could, I would be more than happy to be able to apply for that extension, and that would give us, according to what the building official gave us, the end of the year, the November 25th date, that would put us right on target with that end of the year so we can, we can finish the project without, falling under $150 a day violation. It is important. I think, we submitted for this permit. This is original 2024 permit, and we got the permit and we didn't do anything, right? We just sat on this permit. It wasn't like this, long construction project since, the permit was issued. We had gotten the permit and then realized this is not the permit we need. We're missing X, Y, and Z. So we had, went back and revisions, and then that took months, and then submitted that. And then, so it wasn't like this long, the permit might have been issued in 2024, but we didn't actually start working until much later after that. So,
When did you start working?
Well, the first thing we did was a roof replacement under a separate permit that we had already gotten closed out. So that was the first thing that we did. We replaced the roof. And then the interior construction started in late 2024. We can look up the inspections and see exactly what date we started working and calling in inspections there. But it was just it was a lot of, even though the permit's old, there was just a lot of non-activity, while we were, going through our design struggles, that obviously, like I said, got resolved with hiring this firm to handle the design and construction.
Kelly, do we have, do we show any records about, any inspections? Because I'm assuming if the permit was issued in April of 2024, you'd have 6 months to start construction, otherwise your permit would expire.
Correct. We're gonna look real quick and see. Securities. Yeah. First inspection. First inspection, looks like it was July 31st, 2024.
Do you have any information on what kind of inspection that was?
That was a column first floor. I don't know what that involves.
So it looks like you may have started construction sometime before July 31st, 2024.
Yes, we did. We did. And then, we just, again, we started the project and realized, we're not doing the house justice. So we went into this big revision. There was a big delay in, 2024, 2025, where we stopped work and we revised the plans. And then we got started again, in 2025. And then, it happened again. We realized that we needed an even better set of plans with a better design firm to do the house justice. And so that's where we engaged this other firm in late 2025. And, they put together the plans that we have now to complete the house. So, though the permit is old, there were, large pieces, I guess you can call it abandonment, right? I don't want to say we abandoned it, but we stopped the project, tidied it up, closed the project, and then, let the, and let the designers do. And that, that's a long, lengthy process to get through, new architect design and getting all those plans together. So those are the big delays. It's not, it's not abandonment. It's just, we were just, waiting on architects, engineers, designers, all those selections and all those items to come together. So those were the bulk of the delays. And it is the owners, right? The owners are at fault for just kind of stumble. It was just, it was like a snowball thing. It was like, okay, well, this is, as you tear into it, it just snowballed, and then a little bit, the snowball picks up speed, and it just got bigger and bigger to the point where, you realize it needs to be handled in a different fashion. It's obviously a special zip code, and we didn't want to shortcut it and shortchange it and just slap it together. And that's why we went through the pain and suffering of, design firm and doing it the right way, and making sure that it comes out to be, something really special that that belongs in the town, that belongs in that pocket on McCormick. So it's been painful, and I know it's painful for you guys to have to hear me repeat myself. And I know it's been painful for some of the neighbors, and we've been as courteous. We have a hard stop on noise in the morning and in the afternoon. I shut it down for the holidays. I made sure it was quiet. We try to do the best we can to be courteous to our neighbors and respectful, but that's where we are. It just took a little bit of time to get it, to get it figured out, and to get on the right track with the right firm for design. And I'm happy that they're doing construction management, because it's pretty, it's a pretty intense project. So luckily we got all our permits, and we have all of our specs, and they're moving forward. So we're looking forward to wrapping it up this year. And I really believe that we can comply with the dates that the building official gave us there. I think those are doable, and hopefully we can come in under. I'm not sure about Thanksgiving there, but we're going to be close, very close to a CO, hopefully by the end of the year. That's our plan.
Okay. Let me ask the town. So the code says following commencement of construction pursuant to a building permit, all construction shall be completed within 2 years. So it's not really the permit date that starts the 2-year clock, right? It's commencement of construction.
That's correct, Your Honor.
So what is that date? We think it's in July, so is it really expired?
Well, their first inspection was July 31st. So, if, if the permit was issued in April and they waited a couple months before they started, I mean, clearly they've started some point between April and July 31st. I don't know when the notice of commencement was recorded in official records.
We have a habit of submitting a notice of commencement, close to when we submit for permits. So that'll probably show
was it?
closer to the April.
How did this case come? I mean, are neighbors complaining about this? Is this a complaint driven? Okay. And this code also says that this was repealed, so the town's position is that the permit, because the permit was issued before the repeal date, that's remains in effect. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's what our interpretation has been, that if they get the issued permit before that was repealed in 2025, they have the full 2 years duration of construction.
And what are his remedies in terms of fine mitigation? If I impose a fine that starts today and runs through the duration of construction, does he have the same rights to fine mitigation under the town code?
Correct.
Could I request something?
You can always request something.
Okay, if I can request that extension, that would, allow us to at least give us the time that the building official said that we can complete the project by. And, I don't think it's, it might be, two neighbors. And we've been as courteous as we could, and apologetic. And, we're really cautious about, like I said, noise pollution. It's just, they just didn't call you guys, right? They also called OSHA. And luckily, we use safety procedures, but they did get us on a violation. I have like a $45,000 OSHA violation from one of the neighbors calling, trying to and they didn't, that doesn't really help us finish the project.
No, and I get that, but I also see the town's code here, and the town's code is not accidental. It's intentional. So the commission, and I don't know what drove the bus in this code, but there's clearly an intent for construction to get done timely in this town, and 2 years is, that should be more than enough time. So I'm
Absolutely.
sensitive to the neighbors having to deal with your construction project. What more concerns me is that I don't think I have the latitude to give you an extension. If you've missed the window to get the extension, there's not really much for me to do here today other than start the fine, and you can come back once you're in compliance and request reduction of that fine. But I don't read that the magistrate has any latitude to grant an extension. So if the town is telling me that the window for you to request an extension by the administrative official or the commission is already passed.
Well, I thought that, the first inspection was in late July. So I think if we, can assume that July, when we started construction at that project, if we can assume that, using July as a date, if there's a way that I can just get that extension, applied for.
The problem is the extension's not automatic as well. You have to show good cause. And based on what you've stated, that you just purposely delayed the project because you wanted to change the design, I don't know that that'll be good cause. Ultimately, it's the administrative official's decision. But did we find anything else on?
The notice of commencement was dated January 9th of 2024.
Okay, so well in advance of. Yeah. So the evidence that we certainly have on this case is that there was construction going on as soon as those permits were issued. Because if you got a notice of commencement in January, and then you didn't get your permits till April, and then the first inspection was in July, for a column, without knowing more about the exact construction that was going on, it sounds like to me, this construction was going on shortly after permits were issued.
There were notes in the inspection that says building/columns, first floor, fill cells, fireplace/dining room/kitchen. It says pass. So I don't know. That all means, but that's common.
So does that sound like substantial amount of work going on?
It is.
Yeah.
When was the deadline for the extension? What was that moment in time that we
It-
missed?
It was supposed to be before,
The
the
2-year ban.
the 2-year window expired.
And that exact date was,
Well, even if we went with July 1st as when you started construction, it would have run.
when we received this, when we received Steve, when he came out and we received it, we had, at that time, we had asked for an extension. We did at that moment.
But he can't give that.
Yeah, I think we did want to submit it at that moment, but,
When he came out, it was already past that 2-year. Your, the actual master permit, hadn't had an inspection since, at least a master one, since July 17th, sorry, November 17th, 2024. It actually expired 4/4/26 is what we had.
And sir, you were here before the magistrate last time and were certainly advised about the duration of construction at that time.
yeah, I recall.
All right, is it the town's request remains the same or any change to that?
Yes, Your Honor, no change.
All right, so what I'm gonna do, again, I don't, the code doesn't allow me to give you the extension, so what I'm gonna do today is based on the evidence that I've heard as it relates to the code enforcement case, that doesn't stop you from continuing your discussions with the town on whether or not you can still apply for an extension. You could do that outside of this hearing. If you're able to do that somehow, that will have an impact on your code enforcement fines. If you're not able to get an extension, you can still come back to me once the property is in compliance and request fine mitigation. I encourage everybody who comes back to fine mitigation, bring back all of the documents, show me that you're worked in good faith from the moment you leave this hearing today until the completion of your construction project, so that you show me that you did everything in your power to get the job done as quickly as you could. That will help me to mitigate the fine at that point. If you-
Your Honor, just one thing, under the town code, once we record the order, then the mitigation goes before the town commission.
Fine, so you'll go to a different body, but I would encourage you to do the same thing, bring your timeline. That they'll consider whatever evidence you bring to them as well, to show that you've got through the process as quickly as you could.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor, but one thing that, are you going to be living in this home or are you
Yeah.
planning to sell it? You're going to be
We're gonna-
living in it? Your Honor, what we could do is, since you're very familiar with this case, is we could hold off on recording the order to keep jurisdiction of mitigation of fine with you. And that way we'll just hold not record it. And so as soon as he comes into compliance, since you've heard all of this, bring him back before you to hear about mitigation. Because it is kind of a in-depth conversation, and I feel like it would be best maybe if we brought it back to before you for mitigation once you come into compliance.
Okay, thank you.
Just email me. Want to do that, requesting to be on the agenda,
Okay,
to do that and with your information, and then we'll get you on the agenda.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So the sooner you come into compliance, the better, and then we can go forward.
Yeah, and that's very generous of the town, because it's probably more beneficial to you, because I'll be the one hearing it and I've heard all this already.
Thank you.
So I think that's certainly probably better for you. But again, same thing applies. Come to me with a timeline that from July 7th at noon until whenever your compliance date is, this is what you did to expedite the completion of the project.
Okay.
All right, anything further from me, sir, that you'd like me to hear?
No, thank you.
All right, same thing on the documents. Any objection to the evidentiary case file being entered into the record?
Not at all.
Okay. All right, and Madam Clerk, how did we have service in this case? posting?
A posting and certified mailing. This one did come back.
USPS
as delivered.
delivery? All right, so what is the date that the fine, what is the date the town is requesting the fine to start running?
From today, Your Honor.
And I think that's also beneficial to you. I think they could technically get you on the notice of commencement date because their code reads the start of construction, which would be based on that. So that date, I think, is more beneficial to you than even the permit
All of,
issuance date.
all of this is very fair.
Okay. All right, so with that, anything further, sir?
No, thank you.
All right, in case CS 2026-0084, I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include an affidavit of posting as well as USPS delivery confirmation on the certified mail that the town had good service for this morning's hearing. I'll find based on the documents in the case file that the respondents in violation of section 67-52 for the construction at the subject property that has been going on for more than the 2 years allowed under that section of the town code. Because of that violation, I will assess a $150 a day fine beginning today, July 7th, 2026, and continuing until compliance is achieved, which is the, just so he's clear, that's completion of construction. And does that also include finaling whatever permits are open?
Yes.
Okay. So complete it and get your final inspection so that it's closed out.
Understood.
And I'll have that reflected in the order as well. All right, so that fine will continue until compliance is achieved. And as is the case in all code enforcement, make sure, even though you close out permits, make sure you call what you want from the code enforcement department as an affidavit of compliance, showing that you're in full compliance with the code case at the end of the project, okay?
All right.
All right, because I have found you in violation, I'll also have the order reflect, as noted by the town attorney, the town code constitutes these as irreparable and irreversible violations, so the order will reflect that language as well. Because I have found you in violation of the listed code section, I have to assess the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $224.73, and those are payable within 30 days, okay?
Understood.
So keep good notes and come back to me once it's complete and we'll talk.
We will.
Then, okay?
Thank you.
All right, good luck, sir.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. The last case on today's agenda is item number 11, case number CS 2026-0887. The property at issue is 11 Coconut Lane in the town of Ocean Ridge. The property owner are Patricia Scalen and Patrick Scalen, trustees. We have our compliance officer, Steve Shan, and town clerk Kelly Avery to testify on this case.
Good morning again, Steve Shan, Ocean Ridge Compliance Specialist. It was complaint driven, repeat offense on maintenance for 11 Coconut. For a couple different reasons. Number one is the drainage system right there in the right of way and the easement. That concrete drain is clogged by the vegetation and not letting water drain down the street. There is a natural grade, downhill grade on that street, and water was stagnant because of those weeds there. And also another maintenance appearance, there was a post from a mailbox post right there. As you can see, there's no mailbox on it anymore. So it would need to be removed. As of yesterday, the post was still there. Vegetation is still high. We are in rainy season. Vegetation is growing very quickly based on the sun and the rain that we're getting daily. So that drainage situation is pretty serious, because if not, water stagnates, and I've seen all sorts of things in that water. And then that post needs to be removed if there's not going to be a mailbox on it.
And this is a repeat violation?
Correct.
What
For
was,
the maintenance violation?
Correct.
oh, just the maintenance?
Yes.
Yes.
See there. So what was the underlying case?
Kelly, do we have the underlying?
This one was the underlying case initially.
Do we have the order on that?
Oh, wait, so now. Go up a little bit.
Sorry.
Right. And what was the, go back to the order?
Oh, sorry.
So that's of 67,174. What code is that? Maintenance and appearance standards. Did the code sections change?
Oh,
Kelly, can you go to the order?
yeah, it looks like it's a different one there.
So Your Honor, both the violations deal with sort of general maintenance requirements. The code sections are different. I don't think the code sections changed.
No, they didn't change.
Yeah, they're just different code sections, but
sections.
it all deals with the general maintenance and appearance standards for the property. Has this violation, this order, the previous order from 2025, has that come into compliance? So that's still accruing
Correct.
fines.
Yeah, it looks like we grabbed the maintenance requirements, but it was a different section.
Is the post, the violation of the post is 34,162? Is that what you're,
The code section?
yeah,
Yes,
obstruction of
obstruction of the
right of way.
encroachment.
And is compliance a matter of just mowing or weed whacking or whatever, or is there an actual drain there that needs to be unclogged or a hole or something?
Consistently.
Yeah.
Yeah, consistently. It's cleared out consistently so that water can't drain. Can't just weed whack it. It's gotta be clear. No obstruction.
In the pipe under the
Yeah,
driveway?
whatever it's called.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
the post removed.
All right, and what do you have in the way of service on this case?
They went out to deliver it, hand deliver it. She did take it. She refused to sign, and they do have notation of that. But it was hand delivered, as she does not have a mailbox for anything to go to.
And was it also posted?
No, she took it from
She
me
took it, yeah.
and walked away and then didn't sign the receipt. So I wrote that information down and took a picture of that right there, right then and there. Refusal to sign.
I do know she received it, as she called me yesterday and said she was not coming.
Okay, so no, is anybody here for this case? You guys are not. Okay. Anything on certified mail?
No, because we hand delivered it.
All right, that you're comfortable proceeding with the hand delivery?
Yes, Your Honor.
In the future code officer, I would write that you hand delivered it on there. In addition to refusal to sign, just so it's clear that that's what you did.
And I believe there was also a witness to the hand delivery who's present here today. Danielle was with Mr. Sheehan when it was hand delivered, so. We have a,
What's your name? What's your last name?
Buzzetta, Buzzetta.
You were with Mr. Sheehan?
Yes.
Okay, you witnessed him hand deliver the notice?
Yes.
Thank you. And what's your title with the town?
Assistant to town manager.
Thank you.
and Your Honor, what we know from this is that I believe the property owners may be deceased, and I believe this is the daughter that the hand delivery was provided to, and that is who Ms. Avery was testifying to, that she spoke to on the phone as well.
So how does the town wish to proceed on?
Your Honor, given the difference in the code sections, we'll go ahead and not pursue that as a repeat. But we would like for them to bring the property into compliance within 30 days, failing which a fine of $250 per day thereafter. In the town's court costs in this case, which are $314.
All right, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right, with that, in case CS 2026-0087, for the record, the respondent is not present. I'll enter the town's evidentiary case files composite exhibit 1 without objection. I'll find based on the notice documents in the case file, which include, and the testimony of town staff, that the notice of violation, notice of hearing was hand delivered to a person at the respondent's address. So with that, I find that the town had legally sufficient service to proceed with the hearing today. Based on the photographs in the case file as well as the testimony of the code enforcement officer, I'll find that the respondent's in violation of sections 30-173 and 34-162 for the maintenance violation for the clogged swale drainage culvert and also the obstruction mailbox post in the right of way. I'll require a respondent to comply with those code sections on or before August 7th of 2026, or a $250 a day fine will be assessed for each day that the violations continue thereafter. Because I found respondent in violation, I'll assess the town's administrative costs for today's hearing in the amount of $314 payable within 30 days.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that appears to be everything, correct?
That's correct.
All right, with that, I'll adjourn this hearing at 11:30. Thank you.
Thank you.